I am not reporting today on structures from the Iron Age, like the Newport Tower, which European archaeologists have claimed is an example of the Scottish Norse stone rubble construction style that was specific to the 13th and 14th centuries. It appears to have been built using a Norse unit of measurement. Nor am I covering the Bronze Age structures like the Celtic shrines built with massive flat lintel pieces, typical of that style, and some adorned with Ogham writing. Mystery Hill is perhaps the most well-known site. I will say that in New England rest many unexplored stone structures from undetermined time periods. Apparently, 17 ancient dams once stood in West Virginia near the town of Oceana. I decided to do this report first because it's kind of a shout out to folks from West Virginia. Performing a search on this, I found nothing. Zero. This is one that may be completely lost to history. I got the report from Fred Rydholm's book, Michigan Copper, The Untold Story. The original observations were made by early settlers in the region. 180 years later, in 1895, an article was published in an archaeology journal by Isaac E. Christian. Apparently, 2 archaeologists worked on the dams in 1885, but there is no record of them having done so. One, J.P. Jones and J.D. Cyphers. Cyphers, that's C-Y-P-H-E-R-S. Considering the date, these gentlemen may have been working for the Smithsonian, and this could be one they chose to cover up. They claim some of the dams were 100 feet in height, extending entirely across the valleys of the streams, and were built from odd-looking wedge-shaped stones of less than 100 pounds. These were obviously dressed stones, as all of the stones in any one dam were of the same size. What is odd is that even though the stones in another dam were the same shape, they were all of a different uniform size. They used no mortar, rather, the gaps between the stones had been chinked with rubble. Many were on the Clear Fork of the Wyandot River, 3 in Raleigh County, 2 on the Marsh Fork of the Cole River, and 1 on Piney Creek. Also 1 in Boone County, and 7 in McDowell County on the Dry Fork of the Tug River. Today, evidence of the dams is gone. Even in 1895, silt from the streams had almost completely filled them in. During excavations on G.O.W. Cook's land, 1 mile below Oceana, it was found that a large Indian mound had been built right over the foundation of one of these old dams, which even in remote times had been covered with alluvial deposits. Now, I'm sure viewers are aware of the predominance of mounds from the old Adena culture in West Virginia. How old was the mound that had been built on top of an existing foundation? You folks in West Virginia know what to look for. Those odd, wedge-shaped 60 to 100 pound stones. Some may have surfaced due to construction. And is there still a mound 1 mile below Oceana? So let's do the Texas Wall. This one is so obviously ancient and so pugnaciously ignored by the archaeological community that it deserves our attention. Now let's be clear about where this thing is. The artifact is in Rockwall County, near the town of Rockwall, Texas. It has been covered by the Debunking Channel, the History Channel. In 1852, farmers digging a well discovered what appeared to be an ancient rock wall, approximately 13.5 miles wide by 5 miles long, encompassing almost 20 square miles. The top of the wall is at or below ground level. That's right, folks. It's under the ground. How long would it take to fill all of that in? Since no serious excavations have been performed there, no one knows how deep the wall goes. At least 30 feet. Ben Davidson over at Suspicious Observers did a good clip on it. Let's watch that.
But right now we want to share what has become our favorite piece of ignored evidence in the catastrophe cycle, the Texas Rock Wall. It is an enormous structure beneath Texas. Before it was buried, it was 70 feet tall and stretched for 20 miles around a massive area with other complex structures, footholds in the walls, limestone bricks and mortar, the choice of ancient builders. There were perfect lines, right angles, triangles, rectangles, an amazing and frankly impossible structure under mainstream science belief. And so, for a long time it was ignored. But for the locals, the mystery of who built it and how it got like this, underground, remained. Then the History Channel brought in this professor, and he said, no, it's not made by man at all. It is a natural formation. He says that it must be 80 million years old based on the isotope data, which means it's from around the time before the dinosaurs went extinct. He can't account for the shapes, the bricks, the mortar, the footholds, the continuity, the right angles. Just says it's 80 million years old based on those isotopes. And immediately, our brains should be going back to the ice cap redating. But further, he says the magnetization of the blocks is all the same, and that means it couldn't have been made by humans who wouldn't have known about such things. Well, not only did ancient people build on ley lines, so I'm not putting that past them, but if an ancient solar micronova induced a strong enough current, it would reorient the magnetization of the structure. If it rained cosmic rays and dust-laden isotopes, who knows what isotope analysis would have shown. It was buried by the dirt and muck of the cyclical deluge.
The Earth turned over.
I am not totally convinced that the Sage Wall in Montana is an artificial construction. It is unnaturally straight and stands out in a landscape of huge roundish boulders. I will continue to have an open mind about it. Likewise, this stone formation in Saskatchewan, Canada. The holes are odd and do not appear to be positioned to be mortar holes commonly used for grinding. A curious thing about this site is that it has been blurred out on Google Earth. If it is in fact a natural geologic formation, why hide it? The boxcar rocks on Gold Mine Road in Lebanon County, Pennsylvania are, if nothing else, very interesting. Here is an image that shows the composition of the stone. Now, all over the state of California lay stone walls and the remnants of structures long in retirement, like this stone line near Shasta. That mountain hosts many such stone structures, as well as an impressive backlog of mysterious history of unusual phenomenon. I personally have experienced remarkable phenomenon there. But most obvious unexplained artifact has been called the Berkeley Wall, a 50-mile-long structure of stone. The stones appear to weigh up to a ton and are clearly, visibly very old. Many have sunk deep into the ground and are overgrown with lichen. Since no archaeological digs have been done on it, no one knows how deep into the ground the stones go. Viewing it from the air, I could see that when the wall passes through a valley or a depression, it disappears or diminishes in height. The native soil has filled in those areas. This is an indication of extreme age. After meandering through the Oakland Hills, it heads inland towards Mount Diablo, where it leads to stone circles up to 30 feet in diameter. In one place, the walls form a spiral 200 feet wide that circles a large boulder. The Spanish missions kept careful records. The early Spanish settlers claimed that the wall was there when they arrived, and the local Indians said they did not build it, nor did they know who did. Since this is near San Francisco, I will use the adverb that best describes the phenomenon. What's really trippy is how the wall ends, or begins. Yonder, on the far side of the inlet, it makes a scant appearance in the hay fields, then disappears under the town of Petaluma, only to resume its course again in earnest amongst the foothills beyond. And with that, I take my leave. Bonsoir, mon ami. Have a wonderful evening.